with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace. Eager to maintain unity. Why? Because when we divide, we lose power. Because there is no power in division, only in unity. One of the things that leapt off the page to me this week as I was studying and praying through this text is verse 24. We talked about, in fact, verse 25, the beating and the pulling hair comes because of verse 24. We find out in verse 24 that the Jews had intermarried with the pagan nations, and they had been so entrenched in this pagan heathen culture that they had lost the ability to speak Hebrew any longer. They were speaking the language of the pagans. This has an interesting spiritual parallel for us, because we have to be reminded that God's people, as God's people, we speak a different language than the world. Let me help you understand. You see, the world speaks the language of hate, derogatory comments. The world speaks the language of division. The world speaks the language of revenge. I want us to redeem, and I want us to redeem some language, and I want us to understand as God's people, we speak a different language. We speak a language of unity. We speak a language of faith. We speak a language of love and forgiveness and grace. We speak with different words in different ways, in a different tone of voice, and in a completely different language than the rest of the world speaks. Amen? We speak differently than them. But we run the same danger as the Jews did. The further we intertwine with our culture and get entrenched in the world, the more there will be greater tendency for us to begin to speak their language and lose our own language. We can't afford this. So we speak the language of unity. That means when there's conflict, we don't walk out on each other, we work it out. That means we don't throw down with each other. That means we build one another up. The world's motto is fight or flight. You know what the church's motto is? Unite and hold tight. That's what our motto is. We're not giving up on each other. I'm in this with you. I want you to know that. I'm in this with you. I'm not going to give up on you. Don't give up on me. I'm going to let you down. You're going to let me down. We're not proud of that. That's just reality. Conflict is natural, but if we're going to be united, it will require a supernatural work of God. Us saying Ephesians chapter 4, man, I'm going to bear with one another. I'm going to be forgiving. I'm going to be gracious. I'm going to speak the language of the kingdom of God. If forgiveness was given to me, who am I to withhold that from you? We got to speak a different language. We got to speak differently than the rest of the world. We can't be divided because sometimes the critics are louder than the encouragers. I don't know about you, I need some encouragers in my life. Sometimes the critics are louder than, that's all I hear is critics. I'm so thankful for people, so many of you who would say, man, drown that stuff out. God's with you. We're with you. We need encouragement. Do you need encouragement? I need encouragement. And so we got to make sure that not only are we speaking the language, but we're listening to the language of God's kingdom as well. Anyone who gets near to God's people should hear the language of love. Jesus said, this is how people will know you're my disciples, if you love one another. Conflict is natural. It will happen. We will never see eye to eye on every single thing. But I'll just tell you, the list of reasons to stay committed to your church and committed to the people God has placed in your life is far longer than any list you will ever be able to write about reasons to leave. We bear with one another. You know what that means? That means I love you and sometimes I don't like you, but I'm committed and I'm here. I'm going to do my best to be here through thick and thin. And like I said, I'm going to let you down and you're going to let me down, and we're not proud of that. We just own it and we move forward together. We're committed. You committed? I'm committed.